Hi, I'm John, and this is my video about modernising .NET Framework applications to .NET Core. So in this presentation, I'm going to be running through some of the key considerations from a high level when approaching your .NET Framework application modernisation. And to give an overview, .NET Framework modernisation involves preparation, upgrading the project, upgrading the source code, and test and deployment. The amount of time that it takes to modernise your .NET Framework application can vary widely depending on the type of project and its complexity. So it can take several days for simple Windows desktop applications, console applications, or class libraries, or potentially many months if you've got a very complex ASP.NET web application. So the first area for consideration is understanding their differences. So there is various differences between .NET Framework and .NET Core. Some but not all APIs are no longer available in .NET Framework. Similar with NuGet packages as well. There's changes to the project file for .NET Core to be more simplified and user-friendly. And one of the key differences is that .NET Core is cross-platform. So traditionally, .NET Framework ran using the .NET Framework component that was built into Windows and was designed to specifically run on Windows, whereas .NET Core can be run on Windows, Linux, and Mac, and is cross-platform. And this gives us some flexibility with what platform we want to run our new modernized application on. Assessment and planning is crucial to modernizing a .NET Framework application, and this early planning gives us a good picture of the work that's going to be involved in modernizing the application. So we can consider dependencies, and dependencies are the number one contributor to the amount of work required. We can consider tools such as the portability analyzer to assess how much code will work as it is or may need to be refactored. We need to check that third-party dependencies are supported in .NET Core, such as DLLs and NuGet packages. Project-to-project dependencies may affect us. This will determine which projects need to be upgraded together or can be upgraded separately, and this leads into the prioritization of the parts of the application to migrate first as well. So there may be parts of our application that are more crucial than others. We might not necessarily want to prioritize trivial parts of the application, or for testing purposes we might want to prioritize trivial parts of the application to test our methods. We need to consider the unique characteristics, pitfalls, and recommended practices for upgrading different types of projects, such as consoles, WPF, and ASP.NET. So characteristics are typically unique across these different types of projects. And an important question is, does the application actually need to be upgraded? You may consider it as just a good thing to do to upgrade to .NET Core, but actually some applications won't run perfectly fine and are perfectly suitable for .NET Framework, though there are many benefits to upgrading. We need to balance the business need and the business value to be retrieved from upgrading and ensure that it is definitely the best path for our application. The next consideration is migrating the project. So .NET Core has a new project file format. It's smaller, more human readable, and easier to work with. We need to decide if we're doing an in-place upgrade by upgrading that existing project file, or we have the option of an incremental side-by-side upgrade and moving code over piece by piece, which is they are both legitimate options. There's advantages and disadvantages to each. We need to change the target framework to .NET Core App, which is .NET Core. Where we need to upgrade NuGet packages, ensure compatibility, make sure all of our NuGet packages are available in .NET Core. And we need to make code changes such as API changes, deprecated APIs, and platform-specific logic. And this is also part of the next slide, which is upgrading the source, which includes C#, VB, source, config files, views, application configuration, XAML, and static content, etc. We can use tools such as .NET Upgrade Assistant and other tools combining with manual effort. So there's going to be some level of manual effort that's involved, but tools such as .NET Upgrade Assistant can greatly automate some of our work. We also need to consider cross-cutting concerns such as authentication, logging, and performance. Next consideration is testing. So we need to check for runtime differences. So some problems may not arise until we run the application. If we change platform, then we need to test for platform-specific differences. If we're using APIs in our old applications specific to Windows, we need to test or refactor and get the application working on the new platform if we're using a new platform. Converting test projects. So in our .NET Framework application, if we've got unit tests and integration tests that need to be upgraded, we might need to refactor them or refactor the methods. And this is also a good opportunity to bring our tests in line with recommended practices, such as following good naming conventions that tell us what the test is for, what's the expected output, the method that's testing, etc. Ultimately, the goal of this phase is to do thorough testing of the running application, but also have all of our programmed unit tests passing as expected. Another area for consideration is continuous integration and continuous delivery. So this is just around the delivery of our application, especially if we're hosting on clouds such as Microsoft Azure now. The build process and the deployment process might have changed since .NET Framework. We'll need to update build scripts, modify deployment pipelines, etc. The final area is post-migration, and this is around our team of developers that work with the application. We need to ensure that our team members are familiar with .NET Core and the changes that we made to the application. And we just want to make sure this process is as smooth as possible for the team, which might involve doing team training or documentation. We need to monitor and perform logging on the application to mitigate issues post-deployment and ensure that we've got the expected behavior of the application and we haven't got any new bugs that have been introduced. And also a powerful form of testing is collecting feedback from users. Users that use the application every day and are going to spot the differences probably better than anyone else as they're using the application. Make sure we've got a feedback loop from our user base. That concludes my presentation on modernising .NET Framework applications to .NET Core. Thank you for watching.